Good morning, afternoon, evening, and welcome to the Tyfloat FME webinar. My name is Jay Chandani, and I am the Managing Director of Raja Group, and it's a pleasure to be opening today's session. Some of you are mid-workday, others are logging on well outside working hours just to be here, so thank you for that. This room is full of the right people: technicians, engineers, FME coordinators, health and safety professionals, and operational leaders. And every one of you owns a piece of this problem. You are the expertise in this room: the technicians and engineers who see FME risks up close, the coordinators who own the process end to end, the safety professionals who hold the standard, and the operational leaders balancing all of it against schedule and costs. You all have different seats, but the exact same stake in getting this right. Why does this really matter? Before we talk about any solution, let's talk about the problem. We are working in high consequence environments. One piece of a foreign material can shut down a unit, or worse, it can put someone's safety at risk. Turnarounds are tighter, assets are aging, and the margin for error keeps shrinking, not growing. And here's a part that's easy to miss. FME isn't one person's job, it's a discipline the whole site has to own together. Let me tell you a bit more about us. Raja Group has been part of Kuwait and the Gulf region for 65 years now, since 1961. My grandfather founded it, my father grew it, and today I have the privilege of carrying it forward as the third generation. Safety Plus World, our dedicated safety division, has spent more than 30 years earning the trust in almost every industry. One project, one relationship at a time. It's 3 decades of simply showing up. Everything we do at Safety Plus World runs through one framework. We call it PEA, which stands for People, Environment, and Assets. People stands for protecting the workforce in real time. Environment stands for reading the site before it reads you. And assets stand for protecting what your operation depends on. For instance, a drop tool, a stray piece of foreign material left inside a turbine, a compressor, a line, is not a small thing. That's an assets problem. And that's exactly why Typhoid's FME systems live inside the asset pillar of our PEA framework. Once again, Typhoid's FME systems protect the assets pillar, the physical integrity of your site, your equipment, your infrastructure, and this isn't a bolt-on. It's why Typhoid's FME system sits inside the PEA framework. Now let's talk about the partnership of Tyfloat and Raja. So how does this partnership work so well? First of all, it's our technical capability. Our engineers and technicians understand FME risk on the ground, not just on paper. Secondly, it's a regional and international reach, local stock, local teams, and decades of relationships across the GCC and other regions. And lastly, it's a track record of our long-term commitment. We show up for the life of the asset, not just the sale. Now, it's one thing for us to stand here and tell you why we are excited about this partnership. It's far more meaningful to hear it directly from the people who build the ecosystem. So it's my pleasure to introduce Pedro Caceres, CEO of Guardian, who's going to take you through Tyfloat itself and why FME needs to be engineered in, not bolted on. Thank you.
Good morning, welcome, and thank you for joining us. My name is Pedro Caceres. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Guardian, Tyfloat, and GES, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar as Tyfloat joins our value partners, Raja International and Safety Plus World, to bring together professionals from across the globe who share a common commitment to safety, operational excellence, and the protection of critical assets. Partnerships like this are important because challenges we face are bigger than any one company or any one industry. Whether our focus is nuclear, aerospace, oil and gas, power generation, manufacturing, or another high consequence sector, we all share the same responsibility, ensuring that the smallest oversight never becomes the biggest failure. Foreign material exclusion and drop object prevention is often viewed as technical disciplines, but I believe it represents something much greater. It reflects an organization's culture. It demonstrates our commitment to excellence, our respect for the people who depend on our work, and our willingness to uphold the highest standard every single day. The impact material failures reach far beyond damaged equipment. These incidents can disrupt operations, delay critical projects, affect supply chains, damage reputations, and result in significant financial losses. Most importantly, they can put people and critical infrastructure at risk. The encouraging reality is that the vast majority of these failures are preventable when organizations embrace the right practices, foster the right culture, and remain committed to continuous improvement. At Tyflot, our purpose has always extended beyond developing products. We're passionate about helping define the future of foreign material exclusion and drop object prevention by working alongside industry leaders, asset owners, contractors, regulators, and partners around the world to advance international best practices and build a culture where prevention is the expectation, not the exception. That is that is why today's webinar is so important. Every opportunity to share knowledge, challenge conventional thinking, and learn from one another helps and strengthen our collective ability to protect people, assets, and operations. When organizations collaborate across industries and across borders, everyone benefits. On behalf of everyone at Tyflot, I want to thank Raja International and Safety Plus World for partnering with us on this important event. And I thank each of you for investing your time to be here. I hope today's presentations provide valuable insights that you can take back to your own organizations, and that together we continue raising the global standard for foreign material exclusion. From all our people at Guardian Tyflot, I tell you that I wish you a very, very nice webinar, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Pedro, for sharing your perspective with us. We'll now continue with Leah, Global Technical Director at Tyflot, who will take us into the next part of today's FME discussion. Leah, over to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Leah Roy, and I'm proud to be a Tyflot brand ambassador for you today. We are going to discuss two critical topics that have a direct impact on safety, reliability, efficiency, and overall business performance. Foreign material exclusion, or foreign object debris exclusion in the aerospace sector, and dropped object prevention. During this presentation, we will define what FME is, discuss the hazards associated with dropped objects, examine financial and operational impact that incidents can have, and explore why these subjects are receiving more attention now than ever before across today's industrial workplace. Whether you work in power generation, manufacturing, oil and gas, aerospace, pharmaceuticals, or another industrial environment, the objective remains the same: prevent incidents before they occur. So let's get started. What is foreign material exclusion? It is the practice of preventing foreign materials, contaminants, or debris from entering systems where they do not belong. The goal is simple: prevent contamination before it happens. This can start with basic preventative measures such as using caps, covers, plugs, and barriers to protect open systems during maintenance, construction, or repair activities. Another big piece of preventing foreign material is planning. Establishing properly controlled zones create an organized work environment that minimizes contamination risk and eliminates unnecessary retrieval efforts at a later date. An effective program focuses on prevention rather than correction. By preventing foreign material or debris from entering critical systems, organizations avoid equipment failures, reduce costly shutdowns, protect the environment, and most importantly, it helps keep their employees safe. The best programs don't simply respond to problems, they prevent them from happening in the first place. So, What is foreign material? Foreign material isn't one specific item. In reality, it can be almost anything. In fact, it's often the item you least expect that creates the greatest damage. Foreign material or foreign debris is defined as anything that is not part of the original system. Examples include a drop of oil, dirt, sand, metal shavings, wire debris, even a small pebble. Routine maintenance activities frequently create foreign material as well. Simply opening a system creates opportunity for contamination if proper controls are not in place. This is why housekeeping is such an important part of every FME program, FOD exclusion program. The items that seem harmless, packaging, gloves, earplugs, disposable materials can quickly become foreign material if they're not properly controlled or discarded. In a maintenance environment where there's loose hardware such as nuts, bolts, washers, and wire clippings can present significant risk to a system. Even environmental conditions need to be considered, like rainwater, dust, or blowing debris can introduce contamination that can be operationally dysfunctional in an open system. The message is straightforward: keep foreign items out. Well, foreign material exclusion, foreign object debris exclusion, and dropped object prevention all work hand in hand because both programs are focused on eliminating hazards before they become incidents. The difference between the two is FME program, or FOD exclusion program, prevents materials from entering open systems. A dropped object prevention prevents tools, equipment, and materials from falling from height. Every dropped object has the potential to injure people, damage equipment, interrupt operations, and ultimately become foreign material inside a system. That's why the importance of securing every tool is critical. The basic principles of a dropped object prevention program are simple. Every tool should be attached using an approved tether. Hardware should be stored in secured pouches or containers. Material should be tied off before lifting. Loose items should be removed completely from the work area. And every single time, the tool attachment and tether should be inspected prior to every single use. While these rules may seem elementary, their success depends entirely on the consistent execution of the program. Policies alone will not prevent incidents. It's the execution of the overall program and the way the people present themselves. Successful organizations have total commitment and buy-in from upper management. They choose proper equipment, they have an effective training program, and the employees clearly understand that safety is every single individual's responsibility. So whether they're using a 100% tie-off approach, which you can find in the quick switch tool tethering system, or they're focusing more on traditional tethering methods with approved attachments, tethers, and containers, the same point exists. Maintain positive control of every loose item at all times before it becomes a problem. The impact of failure, the cost of failure. Organizations that embrace complete programs rather than simply meeting minimum policy requirements, they'd already understand the true impact of failure. One small mistake can result in damaged equipment, production losses, quality issues, environmental concerns, or serious personal injury. The financial consequences are also significantly and grow very quickly. A minor incident alone, just a piece of debris caught in a pump or a valve, can range anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 in cost. A moderate incident with a fuel obstruction or extra decontamination work can cost anywhere, with small equipment damage, can range anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million. But a severe incident involving system damage, retrieval services, core damage, schedule delays, and potentially personal injury can easily exceed $1 million and go well over $100 million, depending on the actual extent of the damage. These figures don't even include the indirect cost: lost production, delayed schedules, the regulatory investigations, insurance claims, customer dissatisfaction, and the damage to the organization's reputation. The reality is, bottom line, prevention costs far less than recovery. Investing in an effective FME or DOP program protects both people and the bottom line. So why is it that foreign material exclusion, foreign object debris, and dropped object prevention is receiving more attention in 2026 than ever before? There are several really important factors that are driving this increased focus. The regulatory expectations continue to grow across all industries, including nuclear, power generation, manufacturing, aerospace, pharmaceuticals, and food production. They do not have the liberty to have accidents, incidents, or fail inspections. Organizations are under increasing pressure to demonstrate preventive controls, saying that they have a plan in place ahead of time, not simply identifying the problems after they've already occurred. But at the same time, the cost of equipment failures and unplanned outages continues to rise. With more expensive equipment, more expensive dynamics, everything starts to add up. So facilities also are expected to maximize reliability, minimize their downtime, and make prevention significantly more cost-effective than repair. The other shift comes from detection versus prevention. In the past, it was all about what happened after the fact. Well, now, instead of relying only on those inspections after the work's been completed, organizations are implementing standardized procedures before work ever even begins. Technology has also improved dramatically. Digital inspections, electronic FME logs, RFID tracking, X-ray inspection systems, and standardized barrier products make programs easier to manage while providing measurable data that demonstrates effectiveness. In the instance of large maintenance outages, creating a completely different challenge. Facilities often bring in hundreds or even thousands of temporary contractors to complete the work. Having a program in place that outlines the exact expectations from each person also helps to eliminate those possibilities of inclusion or incidents as well. Standardized FME zones, control tool inventories, and accountability logs, along with inspection processes with this many people on site, greatly reduce the likelihood of an incident or an item being left inside critical equipment. The biggest challenge that we still continue to see is how organizations view foreign material exclusion or foreign object debris exclusion. It used to be that this was considered in one category as a safety initiative, but now it's become more of a business strategy in the very high-performing industries they're really scrutinized on a regular basis. Companies are measuring performance and they're tracking their lead indicators and investing in prevention because every avoided shutdown, every dropped object prevention, and every successful inspection contributes directly to their bottom line and their customer confidence. Whether the priority is protecting a turbine, manufacturing equipment, pharmaceutical products, food safety, or aerospace components, once again, the objective is exactly the same. Prevent foreign material and debris from entering systems or products where it can create equipment damage, contamination, safety hazards, or costly business interruptions. So as we have discussed today, foreign material exclusion, foreign object debris exclusion, and dropped object prevention are about much more than just compliance. They're about protecting people, safeguarding valuable equipment and assets, maintaining product quality, ensuring operational reliability, and preventing incidents before they occur. Every cap installed, every tool tethered, every inspection completed, every single loose item accounted for, each is an opportunity to eliminate risk before it becomes an incident. The difference between a policy and a successful program is always going to rely on consistency and support. When prevention becomes part of an organization's culture, not just a requirement, everyone benefits through safer operations, improved productivity, and greater confidence in the work they are performing. At TIFLO, we're committed to helping organizations achieve those results. We provide a practical, engineered solution that supports both FME, FOD, and dropped object prevention programs, from caps, plugs, covers, and barriers to complete tool tethering systems with attachments, tethers, and containers to support your program. The goal is simple. We want to help our customers eliminate preventable incidents before they happen. The right products combined with the right procedures and training will create safer workplaces and protect assets, reduce downtime, and improve reliability. I thank you again for your time and attention today on this matter that's very dear to my heart. We appreciate the opportunity to share these best practices. We look forward to helping your organization build a stronger, safer, and more effective program. And a closing thought. It's rarely the big failure that surprises us. It's the small human one we didn't think would matter. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Leah, for that very insightful session. Next, we'll hear from Chase, who will introduce us to some of the advanced FME solutions available today. Chase, over to you.
Hi, my name is Chase Penix, and I am the GM here at Advanced FME Products. We are the manufacturer of the safety sponge line. These FME plugs are made right here in the US. I'll tell you a little bit more about our site and how we do things. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to tell you about ourselves and tell you about what we make. See here is a sampling of our offerings. These come in all shapes and sizes, as you will see in the slides ahead. Here you see our facility on a typically rainy morning. We are outside Cleveland, Ohio. If you find us on the map, you will see we are just below Lake Erie. We get a lot of moisture, especially snow in the winter. This makes it a great place to work because we don't want to be outside most of the time. Everything we sell is made right in our facility. Every employee takes great pride in our product and our ability to help solve issues you all face. This is what we call our family photo. We have our original safety sponge, our laminated safety sponge, our purge dam, and our high temperature safety sponge. And also an example of one of our custom safety sponges. Our original and laminate safety sponges are at the core of our business. These plugs offer flexibility in the field. Because they are foam, they can squeeze down to fit multiple sized openings. This is a very useful trait if you are in a hurry or don't have exact measurements to work with. Additionally, these seal internally. They can be pushed down below a work area to catch any debris that may fall in. The product was first developed for workers who were using milling machines on tubes. So this was critical. As time went on, we found this was also crucial in many other scopes of work as well. The foam we use is chemically tested twice before ever entering our facility. We maintain strict chemical standards for not just our raw material, but our cleanliness standards in the manufacturing process as well. Each item we make is tagged with the part number as well as a lot identification. If there is ever an issue in the field, we can send over the chemical results for the exact plug in question. Our original safety sponge has been a staple in the industry for years. But when customers started asking for some that could handle a bit more abuse, especially when it comes to grinders, we got to work and developed the laminated safety sponge. The fabric on top of the laminated safety sponge is incredibly tough, as well as flame resistant. Sparks and hot chips are no longer an issue when using this upgrade. Our small diameter plugs performed so well, we no longer offer them without the laminate. You may have noticed that the two smaller diameter plugs at the bottom left of the screen seem to have gotten a bit of a facelift or an upgrade from those you saw at the opening slide. These changes allowed us to have individual lock control as well as increased temperature rating. We went from 85 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius in keeping with the larger plugs. Speaking of higher temperatures, let's talk about welding and hot work. Never ask a welder to wrap a present because this is what you'll get. It's not worth it. There are times when 100 degrees Celsius just isn't enough. For those applications, we have our high temperature, HT for short, product line. These utilize a specialized foam completely enclosed in our protective laminate material. Even the handles are made from this material. We went from a 100 degree max use to a continuous 260 degree use rating. Another offering for our welders is our purge dams. These are faster to install and reusable. They are available in our standard foam for when heat creep isn't severe, but also in HT when you need to place them closer to the weld site. Let me briefly go over how these work. I'm not a welder by trade, so I'm passing along what we were taught by the welders in the field, who helped us in the development. You place a standard plug on one side of the weld site and a purge dam on the other. You attach argon or another inert gas to the fitting on the handle of the purge dam. The argon floods the space between the barriers and pushes flammable gases and impurities out. When you are done with the weld, you let it cool and you pull the plug and the purge dam out. Why purge? I'm sure somebody's asking this, so let me tell you. When you remove the oxygen and other gases and impurities out, the weld is naturally cleaner. There are fewer errant sparks and flashes because the inside of the pipe or tube has no fuel to burn. This also prevents impurities from being trapped inside the weld itself. These impurities are called sugaring. Not only can sugared welds not have enough integrity to meet the quality control standards, but they also create extra debris when cleaning the weld site. Now that you know the benefit of purging, why use ours? Our foam naturally breathes, so the air pressure from the argon can do its job, with reduced risk of overpressurization. This keeps blowback into the weld site at a minimum. Also, this is an alternative to rice paper. Many people use rice paper as a barrier with the expectation that it just dissolves once it's met with hot water. Unfortunately, it doesn't always perform as expected. It can clump and cause clogs further down the line. With the perfect purge line, anything you put in, you take out. Now we are entering my personal favorite part of what we do, custom solutions. What you see is just a few of the 600 plus customs we have done over the last 20 years. As a side note, notice the photo on the right. Everyone touching the plug is gloved. I'm not, So I'm keeping a healthy distance. We take halogen and other chemical standards seriously. Okay, this is one of our more recent projects. I thought it might be helpful to go over our process for customs. Let this activate your imaginations. If you can think a problem up, we can develop a solution. This project was for a primary heat transfer unit. It had two separate applications that needed to be addressed. The first is an O-shaped opening where they would be doing hot work. It was 1,676 millimeters outside diameter and 1,060 millimeters on the inside. It had bolts sticking out all along the openings that had to be accounted for. These bolts were about 50 millimeters across and stuck out about 25 millimeters in. So we knew they were going to be a problem. So because we knew these bolts would be an issue, we 3D printed a quick mock-up to see how our foam would fit. The bolts did in fact create gaps where debris could get through. Fortunately, we did come up with a solution. We found the best course of action was to have a 107 millimeter thick support piece on the bottom that would fit up against the bolts and give plenty of support for falling debris. In addition to a 25 millimeter floating piece that we would set on top of the bolts. We enclosed this thing in our laminate, tested it, and we came back satisfied. The 25 millimeter piece sat beautifully on top without having any interference at all from the bolts. The second issue was the center of the unit. Fortunately, no heat protection was required here, but it did have its own set of unique challenges. It was a very large space to fill at 1,440 millimeters, but it needed to be installed through a 450 millimeter manway. We had to get creative. That is a tight fit. This was our solution. We cut the problem in half, and then we cut it in half again. Each semicircle folds horizontally at the center. This allowed it to fit through the manways without any struggle. Once it was inside the cavity, they could unfold it and apply the Velcro flaps to help maintain its shape. Once both pieces were in, there were also Velcro flaps on either side to seal it together. This made it very sturdy. That Velcro was almost impossible to pull up once you put it on. It was sturdy but also portable. Our customer was kind enough to not only take application pictures for us, but to share this video as well. It's always great to get feedback on a project that we can really take pride in. As you can see there, we had absolutely no intrusions from the application for the hot work. The bolts didn't cause an issue at all. There is complete seal, 360 degrees on both the inner and outer diameter. And then as far as this folding circle that ended up being two semicircles, we had absolutely no incursions, and it held up wonderfully. We do a lot of custom work in is turbine repair and maintenance. We have done full LP and HP port sets for many of our customers that lead to massive time savings. Aside from being quick to install, they can also be placed before the shell is even lifted, preventing any debris from the lift getting in before the work even starts. Images to see how they perform. If we get dimensions to work with, we can solve just about any foreign material concern on a turbine. The beauty of working with foam is the tolerances. You can send us exact drawings like these to work from. You can also send over approximations. These drawings, we have a rough idea, and that's fine. Received cardboard cutouts in the mail. We made this work, and this happened about 7-8 years ago, and they are still using that same exact design for their turbine outages. Not ideal, but we can try and scale photos and work out the shape and sizing just from the good overhead shot. Whatever it takes to get a solution that works, we'll do. Take pride in being available and communicating openly and quickly to try to get your problem solved, even if all you have is a picture with a tape measure. I want to thank you for allowing us the time to show you our products. We love what we do, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Chase. We'll now move on to the regional side of our discussion and the importance of having strong local support and capability. For that, I'd like to hand over to Peter. Peter, over to you.
Hello, my name is Peter Stythe. I'm a consultant and managing director of the B2B Centre Limited. My work specialises in the FME, dropped object prevention and work at height sectors, and I have over 25 years of experience within those sectors. Firstly, I'd like to thank our hosts for this event, Guardian Tyfloat and Raja Group, for allowing me to present today on a subject I am really passionate about. A little bit about me and my background in that I worked for 4 years as Head of Sales and Service, EMEA and APAC for Guardian Tyfloat. So it's fair to say I understand the Tyfloat product range well, the region well, and what the product has to offer. More recently, I've also worked with the Raja Group, offering consultancy in the same sectors. In this webinar of around 15 minutes, the presentation will be about building operational excellence with particular focus in the areas of on-site support, local stocks, integration, and a PA culture to drive operational excellence. The presentation should give a feel for the direction intended, and I'm happy to field any questions after the presentation. Slide 1. Why safety support cannot wait? It's simple, in that high-risk industries demand immediate, reliable safety support, as operations, as I'm sure you're well aware, grow more and more complex. The mission should be ensuring that critical operations never fail due to safety gaps, be that in training, in product, or in risk management. Therefore, there is an immediate and reliable safety support needed from the vendor, from the product manufacturers, and from senior leadership in all of those participating companies, those being the vendor, the manufacturer, and of course the end user. It's really important that there are embedded teams on site, from pre-job planning through to shutdown completion, and this should apply across all sectors of industry. These teams offer hands-on training, and they should offer hands-on training and toolbox talks. They are there, and it's important that they are there for the full cycle of the outage, and they stay until the job is complete. Communication is of course key, and keeping these channels open for the on-site support to work efficiently. Taking this one step further, how do we build capable, confident crews? Well, you should expect FME training at operator and supervisor level. You should expect from that shutdown readiness. You should expect from that live Tyfloat demonstrations, be that from the manufacturer or the distributor, Raja in this place, and you should work towards standard operating procedures known as SOPs. Local stock availability is key when it comes to immediate requirements. Strategic stock hubs supported by the manufacturer, Tyfloat, and Raja in the UAE and Kuwait give immediate access to those very important Tyfloat solutions. This eliminates shipping delays and supports critical path shutdown schedules. Pre-shutdown planning in tandem with Raja enables Tyfloat to then manage the forecast, keeping continuous flow of demand and product. This is really important, that stock is nearby and on hand. Next slide, sorry. How will local stock impact mobilisation, and why speed is a strategy? From local stocks with the correct planning, mobilisation should be and will be within hours, not weeks, not months. It will result in keeping maintenance crews safe and operations on schedule. Therefore, speed is not just a strategy, it's a deliberate risk reduction strategy. Integration. This is slide number 6. Integration should not be just a product drop-off. I've already identified on several slides the need for planning, and that includes during the risk assessment and identification of the FME vulnerabilities and the risk zones therein. The map risk should then be fully integrated across the entire operational team. It should be embedded into the daily routines and shutdown workflows. And finally, and of equal importance, and for me one of the most important, is the measurement of FME events, which includes dropped objects. Why measured? Well, it provides objective evidence on how controls, processes and systems are performing. The measurement will identify any trend. It will help prevent major incidents. It will evaluate control and effectiveness and support continuous improvement. In addition, measurement should identify resources, demonstrate compliance, and improve decision making and create KPIs. I know that Leah has already covered the products, but from my perspective, the global brand Tyfloat offers something with an engineered edge, with globally proven capability. It has a protection of assets and the environment, and it has long-term operational discipline. So precision engineered, globally proven, protects asset integrity and sustains consistent operational routines. Moving on to the PEA framework: people, environment and assets. What is a PEA framework? Well, it's a lot more than a health and safety program, that's for sure. It's an organisational mindset, and it's embedded into the Raja Group. From people, or for people, it prevents injuries and exposure. For the environment, it eliminates any contamination risk. And for assets, it reduces downtime and costs. People, environment, assets, prevents injuries and exposure, eliminates contamination risks, and reduces damage, downtime and costs. Well, how does the PEA live from day to day? Firstly, really important, leadership alignment and accountability. This is then reinforced through shutdowns and maintenance cycles at the end user, and the controls are set through integration that make FME a mindset rather than a compliance checkbox. So we go from checkbox to mindset. We begin with leadership, we reinforce it, we put in place the controls, and we have the mindset. This, the penultimate slide in this presentation, which headlines the slides I've already covered today, is an outlook across industry and the rising bar for safety across the globe. There is evolving risk in the market. The firstly evolving risk is shifting profiles across operations. Secondly, governance, expectation with rising demands. And thirdly, a greater pressure on operational continuity. Always the biggest pressure is about getting the job up and running. And finally, a need for locally supported technical partners and manufacturers. And you have both of these now in Raja and Tyfloat. Evolving risk, rising governance, expectations and continuity pressures across the entire globe, Europe, UK, UAE and Kuwait, Asia Pacific. They raise the bar and drive demand for local supported technical partners. Final slide. It's important to have the combined values of on-site expertise, on-time mobilisation, integrated FME, and a culture of care. Thank you for listening and stay safe.
Thanks a lot for that, Peter. We'll now move on to the Q&A session. If you have any questions in the chat, I'm going to be unmuting the experts who are going to answer your questions. And if you have any new questions, please raise your hand for them to be answered. Thank you.